Hi everyone, how are you? My name is Marla Fernandez. I just wanted to come on live and tell you how I'm doing on my campaign. I absolutely enjoy grassroots. I enjoy talking to people. God gave me the gift of gab. And I tell people all the time, sometimes it's a curse, but sometimes it's a blessing. And I don't know what God is doing in my life. He is leading me. I absolutely feel Him. I feel the Holy Spirit. I do feel His guidance in everything I do. I'm not going to stop talking about God. Why? Because I know one truth. And that truth is that in America, our founding fathers created America in a circle. And they put God firmly in that circle. He is in the very innermost circle of the circle. And around God are the people. And around the people, third layer, is the Constitution. And around the Constitution are our different laws that we in society circle around. And around the outermost circle is the government. Now here's a truth. God gives us our rights. He is at the innermost circle because from Him flows our right, and the government's right is at the outermost circle. The government, so the people, it's the God at the center, the people are created by God. So because they're divinely created, they have natural rights that are given to you by God that no one on earth can take away. And the people created the Constitution. And this Constitution regulates the different laws we live around and the government. So a public servant is somebody, a good candidate who is a good public servant, listens to the people and to God, and he tries to make laws that adhere to God and that balance the people's interests. Okay, that is a truth of America. The second truth, we the people consent indirectly through our state government to the United States Constitution. The state government consents on behalf of the people living in its state to live under a United States Republican Union. What does that mean? It means that they consent to live under the Constitution. If we are no longer living under the Constitution, each state in the Union has the right to leave the Union. The Constitution is the contract that binds us all. That's a truth that I know. And this is why this election matters. And everyone in the United States Union must hear this. So if you're listening, please share. Your state government can push back. I only care about the 14 amendments to the Constitution. After the 14th Amendment, I don't care about it because it's invalid. It invalidates the Articles and the Bill of Rights. Okay, so why do I say the 14th Amendment? Because the 14th Amendment was created for one reason alone. It was created to, and you don't have to, you could ask your lawyer, but I'm very confident on this point. I'm a paralegal, and I'm a legal scholar, and I know the law very well, and I know my history. I'm a Cuban, I'm a first-generation American who came here from Miami, Florida. I was born and raised from Cubans and indoctrinated in liberty. So, this is what I'm going to tell you. Okay? Every state in the government. Okay, so the 14th Amendment in 1865, Abe Lincoln, with the Congress of that year, I can't remember the number, I'm a sanguine. We just don't remember those kind of dates. I've never been able to be that detailed. But anyways, in 1865, the reason that the 14th Amendment came to be is because certain states in the Union were denying persons the right to life, liberty, and property as citizens of that state. And so every point, every clause in the 14th Amendment is meant for the state. It brings the state into compliance with the Constitution. Why did they need to do this? Because the Constitution was for the federal government. It holds the federal government accountable. The states have co-equal power with the federal government. And so in article, if you want to understand Alexander Hamilton's words in Federalist Paper number 32, what he is saying is that if the state gives up its power to the federal government and allows the federal government to directly tax us, then what they're doing is that they're centralizing their power and they're getting rid of their power. And before you know it, we become enveloped into a centralized system. Okay? So what Hamilton was saying is, be cautious. The U.S. government, the federal, it's sometimes a federal and sometimes it's a national. We have a mix. Their duty is limited to making sure that each state, they're mediators in a sense. The U.S. government is a mediator between the different states. Their only ability to make money is through exports. Every state has a duty to collect taxes, imports. Okay? Internal. Okay? Internal taxes. So what does that mean? The state has every right to directly tax the people if they need to pay the union. The state is the central power of the people in that state. Every state has a different culture. Every state. Currently, I'm in Colorado. So I'm a Floridian in Colorado, and I've assimilated into the Colorado culture. Okay? I'm also a first American that assimilated into the Florida culture and also into the Cuban culture. My family thought that they were going to return. They never thought that Cuba would stay a communist nation for very long. It has. Once a country goes communism, it's really hard to turn it back. So listen to me carefully, okay? The only way, I don't believe that you need to open up a state convention to do anything at all. And I wouldn't. What I would do at the state level, every legislature, every legislator, every representative at the local level must write a law ending the federal income tax for their state. Every state must end the federal income tax for their states and reform your state tax. That's what you must do if you want to correct this. Every state must end the federal income tax and reform the state tax. That will form a conflict between the state and the federal government that will officially put you into the U.S. Supreme Court, and the U.S. Supreme Court can tell you whether Amendment 16 is valid or not. And I, a paralegal, can tell you, the lawyer that's listening to this message, that it is not valid. It is usurping Article 1, which is still valid, because just because you make an amendment doesn't invalidate the articles. We need to do this in order to go back to the Constitution and start adhering to it. What else am I going to say? Okay, so the people consent indirectly to be governed by the U.S. Constitution. Kamala Harris is not an American citizen. Kamala Harris was born in California. California, to be exact. Okay? She was born in California, and she is a very good prosecutor, according to some lawyers that have told me that she was very good at what she did in California courts. Okay? So I'm not going to knock her. She does her job in California. However, because the 14th Amendment is meant for the states, she is not a United States natural-born citizen eligible to run for president or vice president. The 14th Amendment was meant for the states that were denying their citizens life, liberty, and the pursuit of property and equal opportunity. The 14th Amendment corrected the slave issue. Kamala Harris was born in California. Her parents were non-citizen students. In order for her to be a natural-born citizen eligible to run for president or vice president, she needed to have inherited that right. It is an inheritance to run for president. It is a privilege. If you get to run for president, if you get to be president of the people of the United States and represent our interests at the foreign government, United States national government, your parents need to naturalize. Because our founding fathers, who naturalized once the U.S. Constitution was born and ratified, meant for their kids, who were first generation Americans, to be able to run for highest, second highest, and Senate. So Kamala Harris did 3 things wrong. 2 things, and now she's doing the 3rd. First was, she became a senator, which she became a senator under the invalid 17th Amendment. Okay? She cannot be a senator because she has foreign influence and foreign allegiance. 2, she ran for president, and Tulsi Gabbard correctly called her out on her citizenship. And nobody paid attention because we've been dumbed down. 2, 3, run for president. If we remove President Biden, Kamala Harris must be removed from president as well. She cannot sit as president of the United States like Obama. President Obama is a U.S. citizen. He was born and raised in Hawaii from a U.S. citizen mother. And he was born and raised by his mother and his grandparents. Okay? I don't want to hear that he's not. There is one issue with there is one question with his citizenship, but it's an immigration law question. It's not a constitutional question. Okay? As long as one parent is a American, you are valid American. Okay? However, your allegiance is different. The reason Benjamin Franklin couldn't run for office is because his allegiance was compromised. He was a gabber, like me. Anyways, but Obama and Kamala Harris are two different people. Kamala's parents were non-citizen students, and the reason that she's not eligible is because the 14th Amendment has an exception. The exception is subject to the jurisdiction thereof. What does that mean? It means that if you're born in America, in one of the states, the 50 states, one of the 50 states, not a territory, not Puerto Rico, not the islands, 50 states. Your parents' jurisdiction is, if they're not American citizens, if they were not naturalized, your parents' jurisdiction matters. Because if you're born in California, you're a California citizen. California has your jurisdiction is California because that's your residency, your place of birth. But you're subject to the jurisdiction of wherever your parents are from. So the United States has limited jurisdiction over yourself. Okay? Now Kamala Harris has a problem. Her father could not naturalize because he is a self-proclaimed Karl Marx communist. In immigration law, you cannot naturalize and become a citizen if you're a communist. I know this because I'm an immigration paralegal. 2, her mother was the daughter of a high official in India. She was subject to the jurisdiction of India. So Kamala Harris, her parents have absolute right over their children. In America, we have the theory of subsidiarity. I don't know, I read a lot. Lord, help me. I'm a woman that reads. I'm dangerous, eh? When you read, you learn. When you learn, you lead. I don't know, whatever. Okay. Anyways, this is the theory. Parents in America have the absolute right to raise and train their kids. The first community you're born into is your home. Your parents have the full authority over you up to 18 and even after. You must listen to your parents. If you don't listen to your parents, then you're not going to listen to God. You've got to honor your parents for your life to go well. Okay. So Kamala Harris consents to be governed by her parents' country of citizenship. Because when you're born, you have no reasoning. You cannot consent to be governed to the U.S. Constitution. You cannot relinquish your citizenship and obey one country. Okay? That's why she's not eligible. When Kamala Harris was born, her parents met around 1961. They married around 1963. No, they met around 1961, 1962. Kamala Harris's mom got pregnant and she got married. Her mother comes from a very good background. Kamala Harris's mother comes from a very good background. Okay. Now, her mother graduates in 1964, along with getting married. They live together and they have another child. And up until 1967, her father graduates. They both have PhDs. And he does his residency in Stanford. That's where they do not follow each other. Kamala Harris's mother stays behind in California, and her father moves to Stanford University. In 1972, I think it was 1971, Kamala Harris's mom files for divorce. In 1972, she gets full custody of her kids. She gets a job shortly thereafter in Canada, Montreal, in a university. And she moves to Canada with her daughters. Kamala Harris was about 8 years old when she left the United States. Right there and then, the U.S. no longer has jurisdiction over Kamala Harris. The only way for Kamala Harris to be a natural-born citizen is for her father to naturalize before she's 18 and bring his daughter into the U.S. as an American. He didn't. In 1978, her father worked as an economic advisor for the government of Jamaica. As a U.S. citizen, the U.S. is not obliged to view any other country's citizenship. However, if you work for the government of another country, your citizenship can be stripped away from you. That's how you lose your American citizenship. So Kamala Harris returns to the U.S. in 1984. Her father never naturalized before she moved back. She needed to relinquish, if she wanted her U.S. citizenship, which most Americans who are born here and have parents who are not U.S. citizens don't understand or don't know. She needed to relinquish and say, I relinquish and I consent to be governed by the U.S. Constitution. And I relinquish, and you're supposed to relinquish at that moment in time your U.S. citizenship from everywhere. If you relinquish your citizenship from other countries, then you cannot naturalize in this country. And you don't have a right unless you relinquish your citizenships to run for president or vice president or Senate, or be a contender to the Senate. Okay? she's not a natural born citizen in the strict sense of the word. And because her mother did not naturalize and left the country, her mother needed to restart the process again. Her mother is an Indian citizen. However, Kamala has another issue. Her father, in 1961, Jamaica went through its revolution and declared independence from England. England used to give Jamaicans British citizenship. Her father was born before 1961. He has British citizenship. So in Britain, in Great Britain, she is a natural born citizen. No, I think it's not. No, it's not. She's not. She's a citizen by way of descent. That's called jus sanguinis. I think that's the Latin term. I think. Or jus. There's another word, and I forgot jus something. Anyways, we don't view, in the US, we don't hold any of that standard. Because the founding fathers didn't believe in it. You're not just a US citizen just because of your parents. There needs to be different things, different sets of qualifications to become a US citizen. Now, there's another thing. Okay, so I told you that already. So in order to be a US citizen, you must be of age that you can consent to be governed by the United States Constitution. And every state consents for you up until the age of reason, which is 18 or 16. Because before then, you're still under your parents' obligation. Your parents rule over you. You don't have rights. You have rights only through your parents. Your parents represent you. This is why any law that our Democrat friends are making here in Colorado is invalid. It's null and void. Any law that is being made against the parents is null and void. And parents must rise up and protect their children. Because the schools have no right other than the right that the parent gives them to educate their children in reading, writing, and arithmetic. Teachers are secondary. When they stand in the place of the parent, when the parent picks them up, the parent is in full authority. Now, I'm asking all of you that are listening to this, please share, like, and share. And if you can donate to my writing campaign, please donate. And spread the word that I'm on the ballot for Colorado General Assembly State House District 3. We must take back the state, and you must elect the right people to state office. Forget what goes on in the national government. If you want, as a mediator, if you want to unite with your neighbors, God gives you the gift to love everyone. Okay, you love everyone through God. Okay, He'll give you that, He'll infuse that extra love so that you could love even the most hateable person. Okay, but you must love everyone. That is our only duty. Love God, love your neighbor. That's all you gotta do. Okay, so I'm asking all of you to visit my website, arlafernandez4hd3.com. Click on Get Involved and donate or buy my book, Inside Totalitarianism. It'll explain how a country is subverted. into a communist regime. We have a chance in America as individuals to push back. And if you don't take this election serious, we will be subverted. And we won't come back. There is no other country in the whole entire world like America. Take this serious and vote for the right candidates. The right candidates that use their thinking, not their feeling. Okay, here's another term. Okay? And I know that I'm giving you a lot of ideas, but these ideas are not new. They're truths. Gotta think about it. Okay, here's another truth. In Colorado, we have 54 women in legislature. You know why women can't lead? I literally know this because God gave me that gift. Because when we get pregnant and we have babies, it literally changes you. You're in a different state. Your emotions are up in the air. You're a mom. From pregnancy till birth, you're changing. A woman has to be balanced emotionally and mentally and physically in order to be a leader. This is why men are the right people to lead. However, a man does well if he knows how to love and listen to his wife. Because then, if the wife has some thinking in her emotional state, he is able to balance that. And with God's grace, he can lead in the right direction, his family in the right direction. That was divine, okay? Okay. So that was another point. So men, you have a duty to take care of your family. Your wife has a duty to take care of her family. That's her. After God, it's family, and then self. Men, you have to obey God. If you're not in obedience to God, your life is not going to work. Okay? So your duty is to God first, then your country, then your family, and then yourself. Women, your duty is to God, then your family, then yourself. Only if God calls you to run for office is that your calling. And I feel called right now to run for office because I do have the natural ability to think clearly and reason. With God's help, he balances my emotions. And I do listen to men. I'm like Mary Magdalene, you know what I'm saying? If you know the Bible, Mary Magdalene, that's me. Okay? So I'm the right woman to be in the state legislature. No, I wouldn't run for president, so don't ask me to do that, please. Look at these right here. My husband gives them to me. But anyways, if you want to see, you think about our legislature here in Colorado and all the laws that are being passed. They're being passed by women. There's another thing. I absolutely know how to fix the abortion issue so that it balances and it respects the people's wishes. I'm not going to ban it. That's not my goal. But I will fix it so that it adheres to God's law and the Constitution. And women have a right, a true right, their God-given right to make the choice for themselves. I am Catholic, and I'm not going to compromise my faith, especially since, the church will chastise me, and God and Jesus too. And I don't want any more chastisements. Anyways, that's all I have for today. I appreciate. All I'm asking is to like, subscribe, and if you can donate, please donate. If you could buy my book, that's another way that you're supporting me. Buy my book, Marla Benavides, Inside Totalitarianism, from the philosophy, the physiology, and anatomy from a Cuban perspective. My cousin wrote the book in Spanish, and I translated it. He is a prolific writer, and I just felt that I needed to share his story with you. It's a very good story. I translated it. It took me a long time. I spent 6 hours and $600 to publish that book. And I bring it to you so you understand what happened before Castro and after Castro. Thank you. Have a great day, and go to Marla Fernandez for HD3.com and donate or buy my book today. Have a great, and don't forget, write me into the election. If you're in Englewood, Sheridan, Southeast Denver, write me in as Marla Fernandez into the ballot in November 5, 2024. Forget the political parties. That's for another point. Political parties have no say or governance in anything. And the political parties, we have the party of stupid, and you could think about what that one is, and the party of evil. And if you want to take back your state, you must write me into the ballot and have faith in God. God bless you, and have a great day. Oh, and if you want to remember me, just remember Trump's Marla. A Democrat told me to say that, okay? A Democrat said it's memorable. Trump's Marla. But the other Marla that you can memorize, if you know her, it's Marla Gibbs. Not very many people know Marla Gibbs. So she was an actress in the 70s. So if you know her, Marla Gibbs. Or if you know the other Marla, Trump's Marla. Thank you very much, and have a great day.